Welcome back to the show, everyone. This is the Voices of Healing podcast. I'm your host, Tina Clark. Today's guest is Blanca Rodriguez. She is a massage therapist, among many things, and she is the owner of a business called Wounded Healer. And we're going to talk today about what that means and learn a little bit more about her, and we'll see where the conversation takes us today. So, welcome to the show, Blanca.
Thank you so much, Tina, for having me. What a joy for me it is to be here.
So, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background, and we'll see where we go from there.
Yes, absolutely. I am born in New York City, raised in Puerto Rico from Puerto Rican parents. My parents decided to move to New York City and search for the American dream. This was in the late 50s, early 60s, a long time ago. And with a lot of hard work and dedication, they definitely conquered the American dream. My father was a very abundant man. He became not only a business owner, but he was owner of different businesses as well. And life was good. Life was great until a fateful day in 1973. His life was taken in an armed robbery gone very, very wrong. And from there, it was really a very long, dark season, a season of loss, a season of isolation. My mother, unfortunately, she fell into a very deep depression and she never recovered from it. And these were the times when anything that has to do with mental health and mental illnesses, it was not never spoken about. It was the era of you're either are crazy or you're not, and that was the definition of mental illness on those times. So my mother never took care of her mental health, and definitely that took her in a downhill spiral. So with that said, my father died in a very violent way. My mother became a very violent person. One of her manifestations of her chronic mental illness was that she was a pretty violent person. She was totally absent emotionally from us. It was the era, and here we go again. It was the times when you don't talk about the dead, you don't talk about mental health, you don't talk about things that makes you vulnerable, that makes you sad. So it was the time of that. You keep on going, you keep on going, and you keep on going, and you just don't give up. And in a way, it really paved my way to really not giving up in life. But in a big way, it was definitely, it paved the way for me to low self-esteem, shame, low self-worth. I felt like I was not worth anybody's time or effort. I was the youngest, well, I am the youngest of three siblings, and all I heard in since my childhood was, she is the little one, don't mind her. She's the little one. She doesn't know. She doesn't know. And she doesn't know. And that definitely, words are really powerful. Definitely for an 8-year-old girl that lost her father in a very violent way. That mom went into a very dark season. So it was like a double loss at the same time. And with hard work and dedication and lots of falling down, lots of mistakes, lots of lots of going into way into places that I wouldn't recommend to anybody. Definitely, it made me who I am today. So little did I know that with all of these circumstances that I grew up in, I am a survivor of sexual violence as well since I was 9 years old. So it was very, very difficult times. And it paved my way to the woman that I am today. And that's why my business is called Wounded Healer. Wounded healers, we are people that we are inspired by those dark seasons in our lives to help others improve their quality of life, no matter what age we are. It took me a tremendous amount of years, 47 years to be exact, to tell my story, to speak up, to finally learn my real worth and be here today. So I'm very grateful to be here. I could have easily gone on the path of more self-destruction. I was there for a long time, but God had a plan for me, definitely. And the plan is one of the biggest plans was to be here today in the now, because I had many moments in my life that I didn't even think that I will reach the age of 40. And here I am at almost 60. So if there's something for sure, Tina, is that I am grateful every single day of my life for being alive.
Yeah, so I also grew up in New York City, and the 70s, was a tough decade. I mean, I was
Mhm.
very young, but I remember feeling like there was a lot of darkness or a lot of,
Mhm.
low energy in the city. And whenever you go through like a recession in a city, you really feel it more than everybody else for some
Absolutely.
reason. The
Mhm.
intensity of it is really, really strong,
Mhm.
which is not enjoyable when you live in the
Not at
city.
all.
You still live in the city now?
No, no, I live in Florida now. When my father passed, we moved to Puerto Rico, and I live in Puerto Rico for 29 years, and then I moved back to the US over 20 years ago. But I'm here in Florida now.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
how was your mother before this happened to your father? Was she stable then, or did his passing like trigger the mental illness within her?
I believe that mom had some kind of mental illness, but she kept it really, really hidden. And my father definitely brought her a lot of stability. My mother grew up in extreme poverty. She will tell us that she used to go to school barefooted, and she was the middle child of 9 brothers and sisters with a widowed mom, and she had a very, very rough childhood and her teenage years. But one thing that I always remember that she insisted was that when she will become a mom, because that was a dream of her to become a mother, that her kids will never go through what she went through. She complied. She not only complied, she conquered that dream that we will never know what poverty is and what it's all about. And that is something that I honor on my mother very, very dearly, because even though mom really suffered in silence, mom had a lot of darkness, a lot of monsters that they were following her wherever she went. Definitely, mom did the best she could with the little tools that she had at that moment. So I honor her tremendously in that aspect. Yeah, she's 94 years old right now, and she's with advanced stages of dementia. And the lady still to this day doesn't go out without a fight. Definitely. Mm-hmm.
You
Oh
know
yeah.
what? She sounds so much like my mother.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing because my mother grew up in the Philippines, very poor too, and
Mm-hmm.
one of 11 children. And she did the same thing. Like, she, but the thing is, they did their best giving us the physical material things, right? Like, we didn't go hungry like they
Mm-hmm.
did. We had shoes, they didn't. Same
Yeah.
story with my mom. But then there's a hole there of where's the emotional support?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the nurturing? Where's the safe space,
Yeah.
that you want and need and from your parents, from your mother?
Mm-hmm.
And so then, the next generation, we have to pick up the pieces of that,
That's right. That's right.
and we
It's a
have to carry on the healing. The healing,
definitely.
the healing that my mother wasn't able to do, which they did so much, but they weren't able to overcome. It gets passed down to us. And then whatever we didn't deal with, right? Hopefully we
Hmm.
deal with a lot because, we're holistic healers, but, whatever that gets passed on too.
Yes, definitely. There's something called generational trauma, and it is passed from generation to generation. What happened to the generations before my mother and my father is very difficult to say, but for what for what I feel is this, my mother's generation is not the only generation to went through all of these circumstances, and especially us women that I grew up in a machista world that everything is about, the father. God, father is the pillar. Okay, he's the most important person in the family, and then followed by mom, and then followed by the children. And when my father passed, that it was so suddenly and tragically, my mother didn't know which direction to take. She got lost, and she never found herself. And then again, now that I put the dots together with mom was lost for a very long time. She all of these feelings of poverty, even though physically we were not poor anymore, and she was not poor anymore, she carried the poverty of her mind, the poverty of her soul. She carried it with her until this day. Definitely, she really does, no doubt.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's almost like they can't let it go. It's that scarcity mindset. There's not
Yes.
enough time, there's not enough money, there's,
Hmm.
and it's a habit. It's a habit of thinking, and
Hmm.
then it causes all this emotions. Yeah, your mom sounds a lot like my mom, and she's
Yeah.
probably alive because she never gives up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
That's why.
mom is still here because she doesn't give up. She's 94 years old, and she is still a loaded pistol, this woman. I mean, and
Yeah.
she still walks, so she walks very slowly, but she's totally straight. She's totally erect. No such thing as hunching no, not at all. And physically, she is 100% better than she is mentally and emotionally. Unfortunately, her
Mhm.
her prefrontal cortex is damaged beyond repair. There is no turning back from that one. But oh yeah, she doesn't go without a fight. She doesn't. I mean, when the fuses come back, she is trying to sweep the floor. She's trying to do the dishes. So that's pretty admirable. But on the other hand, mom, it shows the side of her that really took care of herself. She was a woman that she was always physically active. She will go on foot everywhere. She always was in great shape. But then her mental shape, it shows the pros and the cons. How much she took care of her physical activity, and how little she took care of her mental and emotional health, which she actually didn't. She got the help that she so very much deserved and needed at almost 80 years old. So it was a whole lifetime of not seeking that help that she so very much needed. And it took a toll, and it shows, unfortunately. Hmm.
Yeah, so you said that it took you 47 years to start talking about this.
Hmm.
Have your siblings started talking about what happened? Or are you like the lone person in the family that wants to tell the truth?
Oh, we definitely have had the time to talk about many things, and I became a book author, and that was my big. But I mean, I step into my power, and I started talking through in the form of a book. Definitely. I say, if I'm going to say something, I'm going to say it louder than I ever had in my entire life. So that's why I co authored a book. My siblings, I gave them a book, and that's when they found out many things that they had no clue. And that's when the conversation started, very much needed for many, many years. And we're still having conversations to this day. So I'm very thankful that we all opened up, that door was open, and we're not closing it. So it's very helpful, it's very healthy, it's very healing, because we had so much untreated childhood trauma that these days, every time we have a conversation, we take our time, and wherever the conversation takes us is totally fine, because it's totally in the open. There's no more silence, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I feel like the silence and the secrecy is like an epidemic in families.
Absolutely.
And that
Mhm.
keeps that trauma to continue down the line, because there was this belief, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about bad things that happened in the family.
Mhm.
We don't want to discuss that. It's very tight lipped, but then everybody's feeling it. The
Right.
family is feeling it. The children are feeling it. The grandchildren are feeling it.
Mhm.
They're picking up on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can tell by the language that children use. Sometimes what comes out of their mouths, you're like, that can't come from you.
That's what they hear, feel, experience, and I mean they embrace it because we're beings of habits. So yeah, definitely. I mean, in my indoctrination, so to speak, I thought that many inconsistencies and many things that there was just plain old wrong in the household. I thought that was normal until you go somewhere else, you get involved with other families, with other people, and you say, wow, I think there's something terribly wrong going on at home. I have an amazing auntie that she was my female figure for many years, and she passed away last month of cancer. And all I do is honor her memory because thanks to that woman, I had conversation with my auntie that they were much more profound than I ever did with my own mother because my mother was so absent. And I go to Puerto Rico consistently to take care of my mother because my sister is her caregiver. So I go down there, I take care of mom so my sister can take a break. And I look at her in that hospital bed in her room and I said, wow, mom, there's so much of me that I wish you knew, but it's too late. It's too late. Time ran out. And it's unfortunate because mom with her dementia, sometimes she remember people, other times she doesn't. She remembers saying something and then a second later she doesn't. So it's those times it's like, okay, the time has come and gone. I feel for her, but as a mother that I am, these are lessons to be learned through the eyes of others. And I have learned from my mother how to be, what not to do, and what to do as a mom. Definitely. And if there's something that is super important in my life with my grown-up kids is communication. Be open, say I'm sorry, I messed it up. You had nothing to do with it. I was dealing with my own demons myself. I was dealing with my own silence and grow up for me because I got to grow up for me and then for them. And we all experience, in the last few years, especially, it's been a total growth experience for us as a tight knit. I have a son and a daughter. They don't live with me. They don't live in the same state. One is in Wisconsin, the other one is in Atlanta, and we are like this. And it's a beautiful thing. I'm grateful. My daughter just yesterday sent me, oh, I heard this song and thought about you. I think that is like the biggest gift that I can have as a mother is the simplest things of life. Like my mother, my daughter sitting at an airport and saying, oh, I heard this song and this is for you. And I cried, but as of happiness. And these are things that I never had with my mother, but I am enjoying tremendously as a mother that I am now. So it's a beautiful thing. I'm grateful.
Yeah, sometimes the lesson that you learn is how not to be. And those are the hardest ways to learn. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and all you can do is you can't change what happened
Hmm.
in the past, but you can change what you do now
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
be better now and do
Yeah.
your best now.
Hmm.
So your business is called Wounded Healer. How do you define a wounded healer?
Us wounded healers are individuals that we pick up on those very dark seasons in our lives and we use them as the biggest inspiration to help others. And my rule in my business is I'm helping others improve their quality of life no matter what age we are. And under this umbrella, I'm a licensed massage therapist for over 20 years. I'm a canine massage therapist. I do holistic life coaching. I'm a group fitness instructor for populations 45 plus. I've been a professional dancer for over 40 years, actually. So I'm very grateful that I'm still doing this to this day. And I'm a speaker and educator, and of course, a volunteer, because I volunteer for amazing platforms like the protection of animals and victims of sexual violence. To me, that is like very meaningful in my life, to help people find themselves and be in a safe space when life doesn't feel safe at all. So that's very inspirational in my life. And I base on my own experiences of my silence, my shame, being sexually assaulted for the first time when I was 9 years old, a year after my father's death, and living in that kind of silence. It from taking it from the standpoint of where I went down that rabbit hole for so long, and understanding that the wounds were not my fault, but the healing is my responsibility. And it's up to us to pick up those tools of healing and actually use them, because there's unfortunately there's a lot of people that there's many tools handed to us, and it's like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting, but actually putting the work, the hard work and dedication into facing ourselves and saying, I am the only one who can make my life better. I got to stop blaming the world for my horrible moments that I have. It's a very hard thing to do. We're beings of habit. Change a habit takes 21 to 67 days to acquire or let go of. And if the habit is instilled in us for much longer than that, which in my case and in a lot of people's cases, you got habits instilled in you from the moment you are a kid, it's even harder. It's hard to let go of a habit. But let me tell you something. Once you acquire that new habit of really loving yourself, of really respecting what you do for you, and really understanding that you are responsible for every single movement that you do in your life, it's a beautiful thing to take ownership of who we are. It's a beautiful thing. And I highly recommend to everybody over there, anywhere, take charge of your life. Take charge of who you are, who you want to be. And please, don't do it alone. Find the support, because the support will always be there. I promise you that.
What are some of the more effective healing tools that you've come across?
I have used them all, from professional counseling to group therapy. I do prayer and meditation every single day. I practice mindfulness. I practice awareness. Physical activity has been my savior all my life. Lots of physical activity, because we not only feel good physically, we feel good mentally and emotionally. The levels of serotonin and endorphins always go up. Massage therapy is major. I'm not only a massage therapist, but I receive massage therapy in a consistent basis. And this is proven. With one session of massage therapy, the levels of cortisol, which is the stress hormone, those levels will go down over 30%. And the levels of the calming effects, the serotonin, the endorphins, the oxytocin, those levels go up by over 31%. And this is science, and it's a beautiful thing. And the most important part, all of these things is self-care, because self-care is the best care. Nobody, no doctor, and hey, I'm not a doctor, I don't prescribe, but no doctor that sees you for 5 minutes of your life is gonna know you like you do know yourself. So take charge, use the tools that are the best for you, that ones that work the better to better your life. And remember, don't let age be a stop sign on your journey to healing.
Yeah, definitely. And you have to try a lot of different things.
Absolutely. Try it
You
all.
know,
Mm-hmm.
try it, be curious about your journey,
Mm-hmm.
your healing journey. And then if you do learn a modality, I've learned lots of different modalities. I don't practice all of them,
Mm-hmm.
but I use the ones that I love the most
Absolutely.
on
Yeah.
myself and with my clients and my students. So like one of those would be Reiki. I love Reiki, and I've been practicing for 11 years, and I don't think
Mm-hmm.
I'll ever stop. I
Yeah.
don't think I'll ever stop doing Reiki or teaching Reiki.
Reiki's powerful. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I'm not a Reiki master, but since '08, I learned level 1 Reiki and I never looked back. I use Reiki a lot on animals. It's a very powerful practice and it's a beautiful practice that it's always good for everybody. I have never seen anybody, animals and humans, that have had any complaint about Reiki. Very powerful practice. Highly recommended. Mhm.
Yeah, and the people that learn Reiki are wonderful.
Mhm.
Once I hear someone's Reiki trained, whether they practice or not, that's a person that I'm interested in getting to know better
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we have that commonality already,
Mhm.
that understanding or even that knowledge of energy, that we are all energy
Mhm.
and that, we understand our own energy versus someone else's and how to channel that energy as well.
Right. Right. Definitely. I have used Reiki a lot before and after my patients. I used to work for centers for addiction and alcohol abuse, and that will be a powerful practice. Do of like 5 minutes of Reiki on these patients. It always helps them. Everybody will be raving over it. So yeah, it's very powerful.
So you said you wrote a book. What's the title of your book and what is it about?
Yes. The title of my book is Impact Leadership with Blanca E. Rodriguez, available in Amazon Kindle and paperback. And this is my co authorship with 29 other co authors from all over the world, from all walks of life. And we have similar stories about falling deep down those rabbit holes and making it to the other side, and how we use these tools to help us make it to where we are today. And this authorship was definitely the open door, well, the door that really opened widely to speak up, tell my story, and help others through my story.
Yeah, I can relate so much. So it's so important to talk about things within your family. Don't keep any secrets. Don't keep
Mhm.
any silences. Be open because your children and grandchildren know on an unconscious or soul level what happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just talking about it, yeah, talking about is healing, but that's the beginning of
Hmm.
your healing journey. And then you're going to have to try different things. You're going to have to address it at all levels
Hmm.
of healing: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual.
Yes, absolutely. I do a lot of journaling. Journaling has helps me tremendously. I don't journal. I mean, it is highly recommended to journal every day. I don't do it every day, but I always have my book very close to me because at any given time you can just write down how exactly you're feeling, and this is for you. And then you can go back and say, it's like, wow, the space where I was at that time and where I am now, and you can see the changes. And this is your true, honest self that you're pouring your emotions on in the form of writing. And writing is a very powerful tool to healing, actually. It is scientifically proven that you will remember much more things that you write on your hand than typing it in. So it's very interesting how our brains work. It's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, there's something transformational that happens, and it's cognitive and it's also emotional when you write things down.
Hmm.
You transform that energy. I've started journaling too, and I recommend it all the time. But one of the most powerful questions that I enjoy answering now in my journal is, what do I need to know about this, whatever issue it is?
Hmm.
And I can answer my own questions by writing it down. Now, is it my guides that are helping me answer it? Probably, but somehow I'm writing the answer to what I need to know about this. And it's kind of amazing,
Yes. Wow. That is powerful.
which means the answers that you have are within yourself. So ask the right questions too. Sometimes you need to ask the right question to get the answer.
Right.
Yeah, it's like trial and error. But I'm finding a lot of benefit from asking, what do I need to know about X?
Mhm.
You know, whatever you might be struggling with right now, or whatever that you've been pondering, or any decision that you're pondering and you're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Journal that. What do I need to know about, this new job I'm interested in, for example, and write the answer, see what comes up while you're writing.
Yes. Very, very interesting. Yes. Most of the time, the answers that we seek are within ourselves. That I keep on finding out on and on again. It's like, oh, I'm asking myself this. Like, well, I have the answer within me. It's
Yeah.
always there. Yeah.
Yeah. So use the tools, ask the questions, keep asking the questions.
Exactly.
Make it a dialogue, because you have a spirit team that works with you all the
Mhm.
time. You're never alone, and you're connected to so many beings that want to help you. If you're not sure, ask them, show me a sign, make it big, make it undeniable that this is the next step forward. This is the direction I need to go.
Yes, absolutely. And don't give up, people. Definitely.
Right.
That's
Don't give up.
don't give up. Don't give up. Just because life gets lifing, don't give up. If I was about to give up because of all the times that I had been said, no, I'm not interested, I wouldn't even be here today. I will be crawling on a sofa, watching soap operas that I never watch, and I will be crying myself, feeling sorry about myself. And the worst thing that we can do is have a pity party of everything and anything. Listen up. I used to be there. I was one of those people that I would take of my time to blame my actions on this one, my mother. Oh, especially my mother. I blame so much of my actions in life on my mother, when at the end of the day, I am responsible for my actions. I am responsible for my decisions. I am responsible for the next phase of my life. And let me tell you something. When I forgave my mother from the heart, it was one of the most liberating experiences I ever had in my life. When I finally realized that it was up to me, I come from from the trauma. I come from all of these circumstances that I went through, and if I am still here today, it's because it's up to me not to only be here today, but to stay, to be consistent, to keep on growing, remembering that life is about progress, not perfection, that everybody's journey is a different one. It's scientifically proven that no two brains work the same, even on identical twins. Those two brains, all brains work differently. And the more we realize this, the better off we will be.
Yeah, life is really just, there's ups and downs all the time.
Yes.
So even if you're on a down spiral, just wait. Take a couple of deep breaths and wait, and it'll change. It's inevitable that the situation is going to change, and you're not going to stay there.
Exactly. There's this phrase that for some it may be a cliche, even this too shall pass. It really does pass. Not no There's no 2 days in anybody's lives that are exactly the same. No 2 days in your life are exactly the same. So when I hear this phrase, this is another cliche. Oh, how you doing? Oh, same crap, different day. That's not true.
Yes, that is not true.
That's just
You're
not true.
lying to yourself if you think that is the same. I would say no 2 hours are the same.
Right.
You may think it is, but really, really ponder it, it really isn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
So probably one of the greatest gifts that your mother gave you is not to give up.
That's
If
right.
you learned it from her.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. If there's something that I really honor and value on my mother was the phrase, you keep on going. Remember, you keep on going and you keep on going. And that I learned it the hard way, that it was heart wrenching, that it was traumatizing, that it was, so sometimes it was from 0 to 102 seconds. Yeah, that's true. That it was a roller coaster ride. Absolutely. That's why I call my chapter in my book Roller Coaster Ride. And yes, because it's true, it's wild and crazy many times, but still the lesson of keep on going and never give up, it's real and it's appreciated. And I value it tremendously.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, Blanca, can you share your website in case people want to contact you and work with you further or learn a little bit more about you?
Of course, of course. My website is www.woundedhealer.us, and you can find me on all social media platforms as woundedhealer.blancae.
Well, thank you so much, Blanca, for coming on the show, talking about some of these very tough topics, but we need to talk about them. And we need to be honest about what happened and how we feel about it. And, enough with the secrecies and the silence. Enough.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Tina, for having me. And thank you for the conversation. And enough with the silence. Silence really doesn't lead you much of anywhere. Speak up, step into your power, and you will be okay. I promise you that.